those of you who are joining us now because you're watching the YouTube video. Hello, welcome. Thank you for watching our YouTube videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed, and that way you'll get a notice every time a new video is uploaded, and also you'll be able to leave comments. We always love comments, and our YouTube videos are prepared for us now, lovingly, by Garrick. So thank you so much for doing that, Garrick. So welcome everybody. Okay, my title of today's talk is The World, Our Larger Body. Literally. The world is our larger body. I definitely like to think of the world that way, and I actually think it is the teaching of A Course in Miracles, at least for me, how I interpret A Course in Miracles. So I do want to give a little disclaimer here, right off the bat. I really appreciate our Reverend Kim. Sometimes she's listening. I really appreciate our Reverend Kim, who teaches our Tuesday A Course of Love class from Lubbock, Texas. And she was introducing the CMC to some new people who joined our class last Tuesday. And she goes, the one great thing about the CMC is nobody has to agree with anybody. Nobody has to agree with anybody on how to interpret anything. She goes, I've always loved that. And I was just, it was unsolicited, but I just really appreciated that she said that. I think that is just terrific. And I felt good about that, almost proud, if I can be proud, that I've been managed to have this church, this organization for 33 years, and nobody thinks they have to agree with me. I like that. I must be doing something right if I've gotten that message across. So nobody has to agree with anything I say, but I have been studying A Course in Miracles for a long time, so I just ask y'all to listen to it. But everybody comes up with how they interpret the teaching for themselves. So maybe you're not going to relate to the world as your larger body, but I am going to. And actually, I think that if you just remember this talk and what I'm going to talk about today, and just remember this thing, when you're reading A Course in Miracles and you see the word world, just translate it into body sometimes. Just read it like body, like Reverend Vincent did in the reading. And I think sometimes it gives you a little nuance of shift and meaning that just makes it deeper and clearer and just gives you a new way to look at things. Now, I don't think this is actually that outlandish of an idea. There's a workbook lesson that says, I bless the world because I bless myself. So obviously we're being taught to think of the world, and we spent a whole day thinking about the world as really us. Okay, so you can change the world to body in that particular question. I bless the body because I bless myself. Well, that seems really logical. So it's just as logical to say I bless the world because I bless myself, because I actually do think A Course in Miracles is such a thing that you can use those words pretty much interchangeably almost every time they appear. Maybe not every single time, but almost every time they appear. So why is the world us? Because as A Course in Miracles says, I believe, the world is a symbolic representation of our minds. We are manifesting the world with our minds. Maybe not individually, maybe collectively. I don't know how you want to figure all that out theologically, but the world is a manifestation of our collective thought, and it's the dream world that we're walking through. It is us. The world is us. It is that symbolic representation of self. It is us in form. And as I was saying, Reverend Kim teaches our Course of Love class. A Course of Love has an interesting way of relating to the healing both of the body and the world. It calls it the elevated self of form. So we're here to manifest a healed self, a healed symbolic representation of self, which would mean a healed whole body, but it would also mean a healed whole world. We're here to manifest an elevated self of form. It's still form. It's not reality. Some people have trouble with A Course of Love because they think it's making form real. When they say an elevated self of form, aren't you making form real? I said, no. It's just making form healed, which is the exact same thing A Course in Miracles does. It just makes it healed. So we're here to manifest a healed self, be it our body, be it the world. It's both. You decide. It's both. Another quote. I got just a bunch of quotes. I'm going to substitute world, body, body, world. Okay. The quote as it naturally appears is, the world you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. It is a picture of a complete disunity and a total lack of joining. So the world we generally see from our ego perspective, that's what that means. The world we see from our isolated, separated ego perspective is based on sacrifice. It's based on the sacrifice of the oneness that is the truth about us. And it's a picture of disunity, and it's a picture of separation, a total lack of joining. So just substitute body for world. Okay, the body you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. It is a picture of a complete disunity and a total lack of joining. So it works just fine. The body that we generally see from our egoic point of view is a separate body, and it appears to be separate from everybody else's body. And that's the way it appears. But what A Course in Miracles, I believe, teaches us is it's not really that way in truth, and people really aren't separate. We aren't separate in spirit, we're not separate in mind, and we're actually not separate in body either. That's the appearance that we're here to rise above and manifest something else that's a greater reflection of the truth, this elevated self, of course. Okay, the longer quotation, the one that Reverend Vincent read, which I just love this one. Okay, so this is the 4 questions that, the text is asking us to ask ourselves. Do I desire a world I rule instead of one that rules me? Do I desire a world where I am powerful instead of helpless? Do I desire a world in which I have no enemies and cannot sin? And do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? So in the discussion that follows these questions, what A Course in Miracles, what Jesus through A Course in Miracles is telling us that it is the truth that we rule the world. The world does not rule us. It is the truth that we are powerful in the world, not that we are helpless. It is the truth that we actually have no enemies and we've never sinned and there's nothing to feel guilty about. And we just need to accept that because it is the truth. And we can desire those things, but not because there's a real choice to be made. We desire them because they're the truth to be embraced. Okay? So that's what the Course is like leading us towards in this particular statement. So if you just substitute body for world, it's very interesting. Do I desire a body I rule instead of one that rules me? Do I desire a body where I am powerful instead of helpless? Do I desire a body in which I have no enemies and cannot sin? And do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? That's the truth. That's really the truth about our bodies. We're ruling it. We're ruling our body. It's really the truth. Our body is incredibly powerful. We spend a whole lifetime sometimes talking to ourselves and telling ourselves that our body isn't powerful, telling ourselves that our body is going to degenerate as it gets older, as it gains in years, and that it's going to be more susceptible to all kinds of degeneration and disease and lack of ability, well, sure enough, that's what the body manifests, because we've been telling it that for decades and decades and decades, and it's time, I think, A Course in Miracles is telling us to come up with a different story. Yeah. Come up with a different story about the body. Because I desire a body that's powerful and not helpless, and I desire that because that's the truth. I'm not desiring it because it's something I get to choose. I'm desiring it because it's actually the truth. And do I want to see what I denied? Because it is the truth. And I think if we can embrace that truth and really just see that as the truth, it just helps us so tremendously with our entire lives, but especially in all the issues in our lives that we're attempting to heal. All the issues in our lives where we need miracles. So just like the things on the healing list, appearances come up. And we are here to move through those appearances, to heal those appearances. And if we remember the truth about who and what we are, and the truth about what the world actually is, and the truth about what our body actually is, it's a tremendous, miraculous power and healing influence. Okay, another quotation. Do not allow the body to be, I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. Do not, oh wait, yeah, I'm sorry, it is the body. Do not allow the body to be a mirror of the split mind. Do not let it be an image of your own perception of littleness. Okay, let's switch that. Do not allow the world to be a mirror of a split mind. Do not let it be an image of your own perception of littleness. So when you're thinking about that in terms of the body, don't allow the body to be a mirror of the split mind, usually that gets interpreted like, don't allow the body to be ill. Manifest healing to the best of your ability, whatever that is. Manifest a miraculous body to the best of your ability, whatever that is. But it also means that about the world. Don't allow the world to be ill. Manifest a healed world to the best of your ability. Do whatever you need to do that. Do whatever you're guided to do that. Our Course in Miracles author, Marianne Williamson, right now, she is doing what she feels guided to do to manifest a more healed world. She's running for president. And, she gets a lot of flack about that from some segments of the Course in Miracles community because they feel she's too, hooked into the world and trying to change the world. But I think she's just embracing this idea. She's not allowing the world to be a mirror of the split mind that so many of us seem to have. She doesn't want it to be an image of our own perception of littleness. She believes we're greater than that, and we can manifest a greater world than that, and we can manifest a more healed government than that. And so that's what she's working towards. Maybe she'll be successful, maybe she won't, but I think it's great that that voice is there saying that, and that's part of the political conversation now in a way that, I have never heard it said before, so I'm giving her some kudos for that and some credit. And, she's one of our own community, so, we are manifesting a healed world. We're healing the world. I think it's terrific. We're healing the body, and I think that's terrific. Okay, another one. All power is given you in earth and heaven. There is nothing that you cannot do. You play the game of death, of being helpless, pitifully tied to dissolution in a world which shows no mercy to you. Yet when you accord it mercy, will its mercy shine on you? I mean, this is a wonderful quote just to really get what it's saying. First of all, some people say, yeah, we're powerful in heaven, we're not necessarily powerful here on earth. Well, that's not what this quotation says. This says all power is given you in earth and heaven. All power is given you in earth, here, and heaven. All power is given us in the illusion and in the absolute reality. And I think we need to embrace that. There's nothing that we cannot do. There's nothing that we cannot do here on earth. There's nothing that we cannot do in ultimate reality in heaven. No. Yeah, we're playing this game of death, this terrible game of being helpless, pitifully tied to degeneration, disillusion, in this world that appears not to show us mercy. Okay, so let's change the world word there to the body word. All power is given you in earth and heaven. There is nothing that you cannot do. You play the game of death, of being helpless, pitifully tied to disillusion in a body which shows no mercy to you. It's just a game we're playing with the body. It's just a game. It's not the truth. We can embrace a higher truth about body. And we can accord our body mercy. And then the body will be merciful back to us. Mercy is an interesting word. So I looked it up. Just wanted to make sure I had the word right. So it's a noun. It means compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. So you give mercy to someone you could actually do harm to, like it's sort of justified. You could attack them maybe, but you show mercy to them instead. You let them off the hook. Maybe you practice forgiveness. So there's probably a lot of apparent reasons, appearances about the world and about our bodies where we could say negative things about it or attack it. And we could get a lot of justification for that. We can get a lot of agreement for that. But we could let the world and our body off the hook. You know, we could be merciful. And instead of condemning it or saying bad things about it, both our body and the world, we could be merciful and kind and forgiving. And, you know, however you can do that for yourself. I mean, you have to ask for your own personal guidance about what that means and what it looks like for you. And I frequently share some of the ways that that looks like for me. But one thing is, I just don't accept these ideas that because of the larger number that is now associated with this thing that's called my age, that means negative things. Yeah. I'm just not going to accept that, and I'm not going to think about them, and when they do come up, I'm going to forgive them, and I'm going to show myself mercy by not absorbing those ideas about my body, and by also not absorbing those ideas about the world. You know, the conversation about the world, frequently in the world, what appears to be the world, sucks. I mean, it's really, you know, it's just kind of bad. People are not merciful. You know, a lot of people frequently are not merciful. You know, for 8 years, we had President Obama. And the, you know, the right was merciless, not merciful. They were merciless to him. This strange stories and fabrications about that he was actually a foreign Muslim plant, that his parents conspired before he was born to have a baby, a child that was actually Nigerian, Muslim, and that someday he would grow up to be president and influence the world in such a way that we would institute Sharia law. I mean, this is like how absurd, how absurd can you get? But, you know, that was kind of a merciless idea. But, you know, now the left is doing it too. President Trump is, I mean, they had to up it. He wasn't just he's not just you know, a foreigner here to institute Sharia law. He's the Antichrist. I mean, that's what he's Hitler reincarnate. He's the Antichrist. He's here to entirely do away with the democratic order of thing and plunge, you know, it's like, really? I don't know, just because he's not of the political party that I want, because he's like different than other presidents that we had. You know, can we be merciful? Can we, like, maybe we feel we have a justification to attack him, but could we extend some forgiveness? You know, Course in Miracles says, dream softly of your sinless brother. Count up the pluses and the gifts that he's given you. You know, I say that in like these circles, liberal circles, it's a tough sell. It's a really tough sell, but I put it out there anyway. He's kept us out of war. You know, that was always my hugest thing about presidents, both Democratic or Republican, is their propensity to want to get us into war and kill hundreds of thousands of people, and he generally is not doing that. And so, you know, he's got that one down. I'm telling he wants to cuss and say terrible things about people. Oh, well, but do I focus on that, or maybe I could be merciful about that and bless the good things that he does have, that he has accomplished. The economy is pretty good. I don't know if you really give him credit for that, but presidents usually take credit for the economy. So, economy is the best economy we've had in 50-some years, 60 years. Lowest unemployment that we've had in over half a century. Wow. So, I don't know. I want to be merciful. I don't want to think of him as Hitler reincarnated, or even worse, the Antichrist. You know, I'm just not, I'm not going to go there. Just the same way I think the Republicans or the conservatives shouldn't have gone with thinking Obama was a foreign plant conspired to become president by his parents. I don't know. Very strange. Okay, so merciful to the world, merciful to our bodies. The world is our larger body literally. And as a matter of fact, since it's our larger body, I probably shouldn't say the world. I probably should say our world. Our world is our larger body, literally. When you get up in the morning, you know, you do body stuff to like get your body feeling good and centered and cleaned and groomed and, you know. Think about the world the same way. You know, what do you need to do to groom your world? To make it feel good, to be good functioning in it. You know, Course in Miracles, this is really not that outlandish of an idea in A Course in Miracles. There's this quote that I'm going to end with. It says, "Nothing around you but is part of you. Look at it lovingly and see the light of heaven in it. So will you come to understand all that is given you. In kind forgiveness will the world sparkle and shine. And everything you once thought simple now will be reinterpreted as part of heaven." So nothing around us but is part of it. Everything around us is part of us. Everything around us is us. The world actually is us. So substituting the body for the world, nothing around you but is part of you. Look on it lovingly and see the light of heaven in it. So will you come to understand all that is given you. In kind forgiveness will the body sparkle and shine. And everything you once thought sinful will now be reinterpreted as part of heaven. The world shines and sparkles. Our body shines and sparkles. That's what we're here to do. Make it shine and sparkle. Manifest that elevated self of form. It's still form. It's not reality. But here we are in form. So let's make it beautiful. Let's make it sparkle. Let's make it shine. Let's make our bodies shine and sparkle. Let's make the world shine and sparkle, because our world is our larger body. Thank you. That's my talk today. Okay.
Have you been lonely? Have you been sad? How does it feel to lose such a close